All right, let's just jump right in. What if I told you that everything you think you know about progress is totally wrong? We're going to break down this short but really powerful text that claims our modern, so-called developed lifestyle is actually, believe it or not, making us more primitive. Okay, let's do this.
So right out of the gate, the text hits you with this. It's a bombshell of a statement. It's totally designed to make you stop in your tracks and just question everything. Like, what if all our tech, all our convenience, what if that's not actually progress? What if it's a huge step in the wrong direction?
This whole idea comes from a manifesto by Kota Ramalingaya, and his core argument, really, is that all our amazing technology, it hasn't just failed to make us any wiser. He argues it might actually be the very thing that's caused us to lose our connection, our harmony with the world.
Okay, so what in the world does he mean by primitive? It's a pretty provocative claim, right? Let's break it down.
And here's the key thing to get. This isn't about, iPhones versus stone tools. That's not the point. In this context, being primitive is all about your actions and your state of mind. It's about being destructive and totally disconnected from nature. And it doesn't matter if you're in a high-rise apartment or, a hut in the woods.
All right, so the manifesto doesn't just make this big claim and then leave it there. Nope, it goes on to diagnose the problem. So what are the signs, the symptoms that we're living in a world that's seriously out of balance?
Well, the author basically connects the dots between all these massive modern crises. We're talking about things like COVID-19, environmental destruction, even super risky scientific experiments. He's saying, hey, these aren't separate, random problems. They're all symptoms of the exact same disease, a way of life that is just fundamentally disconnected from nature.
And here's a really interesting example he uses, the whole debate about going to Mars. He sees this obsession with colonizing other planets as, frankly, a dangerous distraction. His message is pretty simple, right? It's like, hey, being ambitious is great, but not when you're ignoring the fact that your own house is on fire.
This quote, wow, it really gets to the absolute heart of his whole argument. Think about it. It's a pretty radical idea. He's saying humans aren't the landlords of planet Earth. We're more like tenants. And we share this place with every other living and non-living thing, which means we just don't have the right to run wild with harmful experiments that put the whole planet at risk.
Okay, so after laying out the diagnosis, what's the cure? The good news is the manifesto doesn't just leave us hanging. It actually offers a really clear prescription, a path forward, and it's all about getting back to nature's way of doing things.
And this is just a brilliant example of that. Look at this vision for agriculture. The most basic thing we do, grow food. It's not just about crops. It connects everything, the soil, the animals, our own health, into one big interconnected system. And I love this idea of immunizing not just people, but the seeds, the plants, even the earth itself. It points to this really deep, kind of protective relationship we should have with the environment.
And this thinking goes way beyond the farm, right into your daily life. It's a call to rethink what we eat, where we choose to live, how we even think about our stuff. That little instruction to leave some food for other godly creatures, that's not just some quaint tip. It's a really profound statement about recognizing that we're part of a much, much bigger community.
And this right here, this is the ethical bedrock for everything else we've talked about. It's basically a call for some serious, radical empathy, to just get it, to understand that happiness and pain aren't just human things, they're universal. And that means our number one job is to just live in a way that causes the least amount of harm possible. So finally, we get to the core of it all. All these practical, down-to-earth instructions, they're not just about ecology. They're actually built on something much deeper, a really clear spiritual foundation.
You see this phrase Shivoham pop up again and again in the text. It's a Sanskrit term, and it basically means something like I am consciousness or I am the divine spark. It acts like this constant reminder, this spiritual anchor, pulling you back to the idea that we're connected to this universal consciousness that's in absolutely everything.
So here's the big takeaway from that. For the author, you can't separate environmental action from spiritual awareness. They are literally the same thing. Taking care of the earth is recognizing the divine in it. So those practical things, like using compost instead of pesticides, in this view, they're actually spiritual acts. And really, it all boils down to this one single plea. This is the ultimate, urgent message that ties the whole manifesto together. And notice, it's not a suggestion, it's a command. A simple, incredibly profound, and maybe final goal for all of us. So where does that leave us?
Well, the manifesto leaves us with this huge question to chew on. It's really challenging you to look past all the gadgets, all the tech, and ask yourself, are we really advancing? I think the biggest thing you can take away from this is a whole new lens to see the world through, a way to measure progress not by how much we can control nature, but by how well we can live in harmony with it. Something to think about for sure.